I always enjoy a good visual novel, especially ones that, well, aren't just reading, but are far more interactive, like Valhalla that I've already covered on this channel, the Zero Escape series, and of course, Ace Attorney. There are quite a few games in the Ace Attorney series, the most popular ones with the protagonist Phoenix Wright. And those are definitely some of my favorite visual novels of all time. But more recently, we in the West have finally gotten two of the newest games in the franchise bundled into a collection, the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Hi my friends, I'm Mike and welcome to the Lions Lounge. Today we'll be talking about the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, and later, make a cocktail inspired by a key character in the games. The collection itself includes the Great Ace Attorney Adventures and the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve, with both being set at the tail end of the 19th century, and following new protagonist Ryunosuke Naruhodo, ancestor of Phoenix Wright. And what was immediately noticeable to me was just how gorgeous the environments and 3D models are. They really made a huge effort to mesh the two, and give that same amount of character flourish I love about these games. Both titles are 5 chapters long, with the first game starting in Japan and transitioning to Great Britain by chapter 3. Now, I am going to go into some light story notes, but don't worry, I am going to avoid spoiling anything important, especially the outcomes of the cases. As this is the late 1800s, Japan's legal system is still very young, but they are growing rapidly, and as such, they've recently signed a treaty of friendship with Great Britain, allowing for Ryunosuke's friend Kazuma Asogi to travel there, as he's studying law and hopes to use his experiences from Great Britain to help improve his nation. Aiding him is his friend and judicial assistant Susato Mikotaba. And while Ryunosuke isn't initially able to travel himself, through some trickery, Kazuma brings him along the journey. And it's in Great Britain that the game really begins, with Ryunosuke himself working hard to learn British law and acting as a defense attorney in a multitude of cases, ranging from a murder in a moving omnibus and a stabbing on a foggy night. Like all Ace Attorney games though, the crimes are never quite that simple, and chapters are typically broken up into investigation sections wherein you gather clues, and the trials themselves where new evidence can come to light. And during these investigations, you'll often encounter London's own Sherlock Holmes. Sorry, I read that wrong. Sherlock Sholmes. Yes, you'll work with the famous detective Sherlock Sholmes as he attempts to make deductions on each case that you'll have to correct to help unveil new clues for your trials. I have to say, I really love how they made Sherlock into a bit of an idiot who's off the mark in his deductions, but with your prodding actually helps reveal the truth. It never got old. As for the trials themselves, what's interesting about this entry in the series is that it borrows a mechanic from Layton versus Phoenix Wright, wherein you can cross-examine multiple witnesses to obtain new information. But another mechanic that's quite possibly even cooler is the jury. Each trial includes 6 jurors who will cast votes of guilty or not guilty during the trial if there's enough evidence found to convince them one way or the other. But even if all 6 vote to convict, you can order a summation examination to interview the jurors and pit them against each other in an attempt to sway their votes. It really helps make the already engaging trials even more exciting. And of course, no Ace Attorney game would be complete without your over-the-top prosecutor. This time being Barok van Zieks, known as the Grim Reaper of the Old Bailey, as every case he's prosecuted has resulted in the deaths of the defendants, regardless if he won or lost the trials. Van Zieks is without question my favorite character in these games, and it's clear the developers had a lot of fun with him too, as all of his gestures and mannerisms are so extra, it's amazing. But I also like how, despite his foreboding alias, he does seem to genuinely care about justice, and making sure the right people are convicted, even if it costs him his case. And throughout the trials, while he is initially very confrontational with Ryunosuke, it's clear he starts to respect him, and I found that very charming. Overall, I want to avoid spoiling the story as much as possible for you. So if what I said so far interests you, I highly recommend you check out the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. It's super engaging, the art style is beautiful, and I can't stop listening to the fantastic soundtrack. So finally, I wanted to make a cocktail for my favorite character of the games, Van Zieks. And I knew because of how often he drinks wine during his trials, I wanted to feature wine in this cocktail. Particularly port wine, which is made in Portugal and was very popular in Great Britain around that time. And so I've fittingly dubbed this cocktail the Reaper. So before I start this, I really want to have a taste of this port wine because I have some experience with wine, but I haven't really drank too many ports. And this one in particular is aged 10 years in matured wood. This is Fonseco Porto. So let's give it a taste. Okay, initially on the nose, I definitely get like notes of chocolate and dark cherry, a little bit of vanilla, not really too much of that wood, but that's probably where the vanilla is coming from. All right, let's give it a taste. Oh man, that is really sweet. Yeah, again, notes of dark cherry, a little bit of chocolate, and just a smidge of vanilla. This is super sweet. Oh, this is a great dessert wine. Okay, on to the cocktail. So this is gonna be a stirred drink, so take a mixing glass and add 2 ounces or 60 milliliters of your port wine. Next, an ounce or 30 milliliters of Amaro di Angostura. This is an herbal liqueur. Then half an ounce or 15 milliliters of simple syrup. Next, a 1/4 ounce or 7.5 milliliters of lemon juice. And lastly, just a dash of chocolate bitters. Add some ice and stir for about 30 seconds. Then I'm gonna strain into this highly ornate goblet. And for garnish, I'm gonna use my trusty skull pick and 2 maraschino cherries. And there you have the Reaper. Cheers. Wow, that is really good. The dark cherry notes of the port pair extremely well with the Amaro di Angostura. So initially what I get is that dark cherry and some chocolate notes. And then it slowly starts to fade into the citrusy notes that come out of the Amaro di Angostura. And then there's some subtle undertone of the tartness from the lemon juice, but it's more adding some roundness to the cocktail. And then the simple syrup just makes it taste a little sweeter. Amaro is typically herbally and a little bit bitter, so it definitely helps. Overall, I'd say this is a less sweet version than just drinking the Amaro straight, but it adds some extra notes to it that is extremely pleasant. Especially the citrus notes, I really like that in this cocktail. The citrus and the cherry and the chocolate pairs so well. Yeah, this is really good. This is like a dessert cocktail now. I honestly didn't really try this cocktail before I came up with the formula because I sort of figured that Amaro would be a perfect complement to this port, and I'm happy to find that I was right. It actually works extremely well. Is there something I would change about it? I'd be interested to try, in addition to the chocolate bitters, maybe adding some like cardamom bitters to add some extra spice to it. But overall, it's fantastic as it is alone. Trust me, this is really good. So today we talked about the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles and made a cocktail inspired by one of the key characters, Barok van Zieks. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate if you'd give it a like, and if you want to see more, go ahead and subscribe. If you have any cocktails from your favorite series you'd like me to make, let me know in the comments below. If you want to see what I make outside this channel, follow me on Twitter at Mr. Spacelion or Instagram at Mr.Spacelion. But friends, thank you so much for stopping by the Lions Lounge. I've been your bartender, Mike, and I hope to see you next time.